6:02 a.m. UA dorms, Izuku's room. The alarm didn't go off. Instead, Izuku Midoriya stirred awake at the sensation of soft hair against his jawline. Kyuka Jirou lay beside him, one leg hooked over his, face buried near the crook of his neck. Her breathing was slow, warm, calm. For a moment, neither moved. The sunlight pierced the blinds faintly, casting stripes across their bodies like golden bands. Izuku's hand moved instinctively, fingers trailing along her spine in lazy circles. A tiny sound escaped her, a groggy sigh, and her earjacks curled briefly against his arm before relaxing. Zuku, she whispered, still halfway in dreamland. He kissed her forehead softly. Morning, Kyo. She groaned and pulled herself closer, arm draped over his chest. Can we just stay like this? He smiled, brushing her bangs out of her face. We'd miss the licensing exam. Reality sucks. A pause. Then a kiss on the cheek from her. But if I have to face it, I'm glad I get to do it with you. He pulled her close, burying his face into her shoulder. Same. 6:45 a.m. Common room. The class was gathering. Bakuga, hair already spiked and eyes sharp, scowled at the sleepy crew. Get your damn boots on. We leave in 15. Taida adjusted his glasses and barked, everyone. Ensure your costumes and backup gear are in working order. Yurika rubbed her eyes. Wait, are we seriously walking to the station as a group? No, answered Aizawa as he entered with coffee. Bus to the metro. Metro to the stadium. Try not to draw attention. Then he paused, scanning the group. You look decent. Don't screw that up. 7:20 a.m. UA bus terminal. The bus ride was calm. Oddly calm. Mina and Denki were playing a quiet rhythm game together on Mina's phone. Todoroki stared out the window, silent. Kirishima muttered positive affirmations under his breath. Takoyami read poetry. Izuku and Kyuka sat in the back, hands laced together discreetly under the seat. Think we'll all pass? She asked. We've trained too hard not to, he replied. We've got each other's backs. She nodded and leaned on his shoulder, eyes closed. Then let's make sure no one fails. 8:05 a.m. Metro Transit. By the time they exited the train, the sun was higher, the station buzzing. They weren't the only school present. All around, students from rival hero courses were assembling, many sizing each other up. One group wore bold orange and black uniforms. Another had a minimalist blue theme. Then, at least 4 schools Izuku didn't recognize, all watching, whispering. We've got a reputation, whispered Zero, nudging Kaminari. One has been on TV more than some pro heroes, Momo added. Let em look, Bakuga growled. We'll smoke em all. 8:40 a.m. Exam grounds, Provisional Hero Licensing Arena. A vast circular stadium, glistening with reinforced concrete and training zones, sprawled before them. Floating monitors circled the air above, cycling through class numbers, teacher stats, and exam instructions. Miss Joke, smiling wide, waved to Aizawa from a distance. Try not to expel anyone this time. Aizawa only yawned. The proctors gathered the schools by class. Each team was scanned in and briefed by drones. Class 1 stood unified. Matching uniforms. Freshly polished boots. Confidence radiating off them like heat waves. 9 a.m. The first trial, knockout tags. Pro Hero Miss Shino, the announcer, spoke through the floating screens. The first phase will test combat agility, awareness, and teamwork. You each have 6 target points across your body. Other students will try to tag 3 with rubber balls to eliminate you. Likewise, your job is to eliminate others. Only those who eliminate at least 2 students and stay untouched will pass. There are 1,500 participants today. We expect half of you to be gone by the end. A tense silence fell. Begin. 9:03 a.m. Chaos unleashed. Teams scattered. Screams. Explosions. Quirks activated. Some students immediately panicked, others activated strategies. But Class 1A. They moved like a machine. Taida called directions. Todoroki formed ice highways. Mina coated the walls in slick acid to block ambushes. Kirishima and Shuji guarded the backline. Kyuka and Ijuku led small recon units, intercepting surprise attacks before they reached others. They didn't scatter. They stayed linked. 2 o'clock. Incoming team from Ketsubuzu, yelled Kaminari. Jirou, Eureka, go loud, Ijuku commanded. Kyuka jammed her earjacks into the ground. A powerful sonic burst cracked through the terrain, throwing enemies off balance. Eureka floated several opponents. Zero webbed them up. Denki zapped them into unconsciousness. First 3 eliminations. Smooth. 9:15 a.m. backline coordination. Meanwhile, Momo, Higakyo, and Ojiro operated a mobile supply station. Using Yaoyorozu's rapid creation, they made shield discs, sensory balls, and rubber counterweights. Higakyo scouted ahead, invisible, warning the team of nearby dangers. Minta, oddly serious, laid a trap zone of sticky orbs that captured a whole squad trying to sneak in through a back hallway. Who knew grape juice had brains? Zuyu murmured. 9:28 a.m. Pro heroes watching. In the observation center, dozens of pro heroes, including Best Jeanist, Endeavor, Midnight, and Present Mick, watched dozens of monitors. They're moving like pros, said Cementos, watching Class 1A's unit cohesion. That Midoriya kid's coordinating like a second instructor, said 13. And Jirou's battlefield instincts are top tier, added Midnight. Sound suppression, terrain echoing, smart. Endeavor said nothing, but narrowed his eyes at Todoroki, who was quietly melting enemy projectiles with heat bursts and sealing them in ice sarcophagi. 9:36 a.m. Phase 1 ending. With 17 minutes remaining, Ijuku, Bakuga, Kyuka, and Shoto led a sweeping charge to clean the outer perimeter of the arena. They eliminated 8 students in 30 seconds. Then Ijuku turned to Aoyama, still standing, trembling but untouched. Yuga, your belt beam. Use it to reflect that guy's lasers. Mondayu, brilliant. 3 more eliminations. By the time the timer ran out, only 711 students remained. Class 1 had all passed. As the results came in, the screen read: Class 1A, 20 passes. Team Unity, exceptional. The students cheered. But Ijuku simply exhaled, gripping Kyuka's hand. Phase 1's over. Phase 2, Kyuka whispered. Rescue Ops. They both looked up as the second announcement flickered into view. 10:02 a.m. Holding area. The heat of the battlefield faded as the survivors of Phase 1 filtered into a walled-off compound filled with rubble, faux damaged buildings, and rescue scenario signage. Floating drones hovered above the sky, broadcasting visuals to observation booths and administrative judges. "Congratulations on passing Phase 1, said the proctor, voice booming through speakers. "Phase 2 will test your ability to respond to disaster scenarios. You will be graded on reaction time, coordination, victim triage, and rescue logistics. The civilians you'll be saving are trained professionals from the Help Us company, playing wounded, confused, or panicking survivors. Some will be combative. Some will be unconscious. All are watching you closely." A countdown timer began overhead. 2:00, 1:59, 1:58. Aizawa looked at his class one last time. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. Team 1, coordinating chaos. Izuku Midoriya stepped forward immediately. "We have 2 minutes, everyone listen," he shouted. The class turned, no hesitation. Beside him, Bakuga cracked his knuckles. "You heard Deku. Move fast or you're a liability." "We split into 3 teams," Izuku announced, pointing to the map and using his notepad to draw. "Team Search and Rescue, Zuyu, Shuji, Higakyo, Kaminari, Zero. You 5 are fast and agile, get eyes on the injured. Team B First Aid and Stabilization, Momo, Aoyama, Mineta, Takoyami, Jirou. Focus on locating and stabilizing civilians. Momo, your team leader, generate medical kits. Jirou, scan buildings for trapped voices. Team C Extraction and Security, Bakuga, Todoroki, Taida, Yurika, Kirishima, me. We handle heavy debris, get civilians out, and deal with anything hostile. Everyone else, form float teams and rotate based on who needs support. We only have 30 minutes. Treat this like real lives depend on it." Bakuga barked, "No dead weight. If you see rubble, move it. If someone's crying, fix it. And if they're bleeding out, carry them if you have to." Kyuka gave Izuku a tiny nod. "On your signal, fire heart." He smiled. "Go. 003, 002. 001, begin." 10:04 a.m. Operation commences. The arena erupted into motion. What had moments before looked like a ruined neighborhood now felt like a ticking bomb of organized urgency. Rescue Squad Team A POV, search and locate. Zuyu and Shuji scaled broken stairwells and rooftops. "I hear movement to the west," Shuji said, using his dupli arms as mobile ears. Coughing. 2 floors down. Kaminari and Zero moved with speed. "Found one." Kaminari yelled. Adult male, simulated crushed leg. "He's panicking. Talk him down." Zuyu called back. Higakyo, invisible and nimble, darted through alleys whispering calming words to scared civilians. Stabilization Team Team B POV, medical and calm. Momo generated cloth wraps and morphine kits at high speed. Her brow was damp, but her voice stayed clear. "Mineta, I need a sling ready. Takoyami, build a perimeter with dark shadow to shade wounded victims from debris. Jirou, lay her jacks to the earth. I've got 4 heartbeats under the south rubble. They're alive, trapped." Aoyama, surprisingly calm, beamed light into a collapsed garage. "It's dazzling, but safe. No gas leaks." Extraction and Security Team Team C POV. Bakuga and Todoroki worked like a demolition crew. Bakuga's explosions blew clear hallways while Todoroki froze collapsed beams in place, letting Uraraka float civilians through. Taida carried 2 children on his back, engine legs sparking with overdrive. Izuku, ahead of them all, sprinted toward the largest pile of rubble, voice echoing across the field. "I've got a trapped family of 3, suffocating hazard. I need oxygen masks and a clear path." Kirishima slammed through a wall beside him. "On it, bro." 10:24 a.m. 20 minutes in. A judge's voice echoed. "So far, 78 out of 100 civilians rescued. One of UA has completed 42 of those. Efficiency rating, 91%. Cheers erupted from the observing pro-heroes. "These kids are scary good," said Present Mick. "This feels like a pro-response team." "Midoriya and Bakuga are leading like trained veterans," added Midnight. "Did you see the call-out hand signals?" Endeavor nodded silently, eyes still glued to Todoroki. 10:30 a.m. 5 minutes left. Everyone was tired. Shuji's arms trembled. Momo's creation fatigue was setting in. Kaminari's spark flickered low. Bakuga's hands smoked. Izuku had a gash on his cheek and dried blood under his nose. Kyuka clutched her side, bruised from catching a falling beam. Still, they pressed on. 3 more in the library, yelled Uraraka. "We've got them," Kirishima answered, barreling through the collapsed hallway. Suddenly, boom! The sky cracked open. A shockwave thundered through the simulation zone. Lights burst. Screams. A building trembled and partially collapsed. Then the announcement. Situational change. Villain attack simulation initiated. Simulated disaster zone 10:35 a.m. As the last remaining civilians were being stabilized, the air changed. Something wasn't right. The skies dimmed as shadows rippled across the observation screens. A tall, broad figure stood on the other side of a reinforced wall, watching the students through narrowed, calculating eyes. Gang Orca, the fierce pro-hero known as the Killer Whale Hero, cracked his neck. "Not bad," he muttered, teeth glinting. "Let's see what they do when everything falls apart." He turned to his squad of 100 elite sidekicks, all dressed in simulated villain gear with stun weaponry. Sick mode. Non-lethal engagement only. Overwhelm. Apply real-world pressure. They all nodded. A siren blared, then the ground shuddered. With a mechanical hiss and a thunderous crack, the barrier wall shattered inwards. Wall breach. Villain attack simulation, initiated. Smoke and debris flew as Gang Orca charged in, followed by his villain sidekicks swarming like wolves on a wounded flock. Izuku Midoriya fire in command. Izuku's instincts kicked in instantly. His eyes locked on the incoming threat. "We're under attack. Everyone, fall back to defensive positions." With a swift movement, he dropped to one knee and spit a roaring wall of emerald fire, cutting off the approaching villains from the still vulnerable civilians. The flames flared high, dazzling and furious, but controlled. Defensive perimeter. Combat units front line. Evac team keep the wounded safe. Bakuga joined the front line, palms sparking. "Try not to get in my damn way, nerd." Boom. His explosive propulsion cleared 3 sidekicks in a single leap. Suddenly, the ground began vibrating, a planned terrain shift. "They're destabilizing the ground beneath us," Jirou shouted. The area buckled. Chunks of ground caved in, taking nearly a dozen sidekicks with it. Izuku nodded. Good. Now. He launched forward with flames jetting from his heels, bright green fire spiraling behind him like wings. With precise speed, he dove, snatched a stun rifle off the fallen villains and began firing non-lethal paralyzers. They'll be captured and removed from the simulation. A sudden blast of sonic energy split the air, Gang Orca himself now on the move. Inasa and Todoroki clash interrupted. Nearby, Inasa Yoroshi and Shoto Todoroki were yelling, again, fire clashing with wind. Stop blocking me, I'm trying to help. Then stop interfering, your wind's throwing off my aim. The two didn't see Gang Orca about to unleash a massive sonic blast. But Izuku did. With a fiery explosion from his feet, he shot forward and shoulder-barged both boys out of the way, just in time. The sonic wave smashed into a building behind them, crumbling it like sand. Stop it, both of you! Izuku shouted, eyes glowing, cheeks singed by fire. This isn't a game or a grudge match, we're in a rescue scenario. The two boys stared at him, shocked. Shoto, help the evac team. Inasa, you and me. I need your wind. Inasa blinked. Ha! I'm going to burn him down with a compressed fire bomb. But I need you to contain and vortex the flames. Control the chaos. Inasa grinned. Now we're talking. Final attack controlled inferno. Todoroki peeled off, dropping a fire trail behind for Izuku to use as fuel. Izuku crouched, hands glowing bright green, flames licking his arms as he inhaled, then spat out a condensed fireball. He began molding it between his hands like molten clay, concentrating it tighter, brighter, a core of solar fury. Now, Inasa. Inasa's arms stretched wide as violent wind cyclones wrapped around the fireball, funneling it and intensifying its pressure, drawing in Todoroki's flames too. The combined attack roared with a thunderous whine. Gang Orca raised his arms, firing off a devastating sonic blast to counter. The two attacks collided mid-air. The shockwave tore through the battlefield. Ice domes rose around civilians, built by Todoroki just in time. Inasa's wind caught flying debris, shielding the rest. Then, Gang Orca stumbled. His knees hit the ground. The buzzer rang. 11:02 a.m. End of exam. 15 minutes later, students were in the recovery tents, wrapped in blankets, some bruised, but safe. The final results scrolled across the screens. Class 1A, 20 passed. Top performer, Izuku Midoriya. Leadership, Combat, and Rescue Excellence full marks. Outside the arena celebration begins. Class 1A stood together, holding their new provisional licenses. Some cried. Some took selfies. All were buzzing with pride. Izuku stood quietly with Kyuka at his side. She squeezed his hand. You did amazing, she whispered. We all did, he replied. Suddenly, Momo's phone pinged. Group message, from Mick. They read it. Party popper surprise waiting at the dorms. Bring your new licenses and wear your best smiles. UA dorms 8 p.m. Class 1 returned to a fully decorated party room. Balloons, food, streamers. All their parents were there. Surprise, cried Present Mick, Midnight, and Miss Joke, dancing. Kyuka's mom waved excitedly. Bakuga's mom was crushing Kirishima in a hug. But for Izuku, something else happened. Izuku. He turned, and froze. A tall man stepped out from the crowd. Muscular, clean cut. Bright green eyes. Dad. Sorry I was away so long, his father said, smiling. I came as soon as I saw the footage. He lit a small golden flame on his hand. Izuku blinked, and a little flame of his own danced on his fingertip. Guess it runs in the family. Everyone laughed. Kyuka took his hand, leaning into his shoulder. Welcome home, she said. Izuku looked around, at friends, family, teachers, his father. Yeah. I'm finally home. The common room was vibrant with life. Colorful streamers looped from wall to wall, confetti glimmered like stardust under soft golden lights, and long tables were lined with food, from traditional dishes made by Sato to piles of spicy fried chicken courtesy of Bakuga's mom, who barked, "He only eats it this way." On the wall, a large banner in bold, cheerful letters read, "Congratulations Class 1, UA licensed heroes in training." Music played from speakers, a playlist Kyuka had sneakily compiled with a mix of rock, dance, and classic UA themes. Kaminari was already pulling a reluctant Takoyami into a goofy dance. Zuyu giggled as she helped set drinks on a table. Momo handed out handmade name plates for each student's license photo. Parent reunion chaos. Mothers hugged their kids tightly, fathers offered proud nods or teary words. Kirishima was mobbed by both his parents and 3 younger siblings who climbed him like a jungle gym. Mina squealed, "You didn't tell us your siblings were so cute." Taida's parents bowed politely to each student, thanking them for protecting their son. Todoroki's sister, Fuyumi, had come in Devora's place and quietly offered praise with a warm smile and homemade treats. Meanwhile, Inko Midoriya wiped away tears for the 10th time. "I can't believe you're growing so fast, my baby boy with his license." "Muum," Izuku groaned, blushing as Kyuka chuckled behind her hand. But the biggest surprise had been Hisashi Midoriya, who had shown up unannounced after years abroad. "I saw the footage. That blast, Izuku, you didn't just inherit the fire, you refined it." They embraced again, awkward but sincere, a father and son reconnecting in a moment of peace. The gift table. Mina and Momo had set up a gift table, filled with little congratulatory tokens, matching wristbands for hero outfits, stickers, custom water bottles, and a huge cake with all their names written in edible gold icing. Bakuga stared at the cake, muttering, "If my name's spelled wrong, someone's gonna die." Zero pointed. "Relax, bro, your name is the biggest one." And spiked with chocolate. Everyone laughed. The toast. Aizawa stood near the front of the room, his hair tied back, scarf resting on his shoulders for once. His expression was unreadable as he glanced around at his students, now provisional license holders, more capable than ever, but still very much growing. "You're all idiots," he began flatly. The room froze. "But, you're my idiots. And tonight, you've earned a celebration." His tired eyes softened. "You faced a real scenario under pressure. You made decisions that saved people. You supported each other. You rose above. That's what being a hero means." He held up a can of soda. "To Class 1A. You've still got a long way to go. But I believe in you." Everyone lifted their drinks. "To Class 1A. To heroes in training." Cheers erupted, clinking cans and cups, even Jiraiya's parents toasting from near the back. Later that night, little moments. Kirishima and Mina led a dance battle, with Kaminari spinning until he fell over, dizzy but laughing. Even Shuji cracked a smile as Mineta lost a game of rhythm to Higakyo. Todoroki and Taida discussed evacuation route strategies over fruit punch. Fuyumi slipped Todoroki a little note, "Let yourself have fun sometimes, Shoto." Kyuka pulled Izuku aside, handing him a small box. Inside was a tiny custom guitar pick with their initials carved into it. "So you never forget who's in your corner." He hugged her. "I never could." They danced quietly in the corner while Present Mick narrated, "And our young flames of love burn brighter by the beat, oh yeah." Closing the night. As midnight approached, students started dozing off in corners of the room, curled under blankets or leaning on each other. Sato handed out mugs of warm cocoa. The parents started trickling out, saying their goodbyes. Before leaving, Hisashi turned to Izuku. "Don't be afraid of your fire, son. It's part of you. Just make sure it burns for something. Never let it consume you." He ruffled Izuku's hair, just once, then left. Aizawa walked past Izuku and Kyuka, catching a glimpse of them snuggled together on the couch, his scarf now draped over both of them like a blanket. "They've come a long way," he said quietly to Mick. "Yeah," Mick replied. "And it's only just begun." To be continued. Would you like the next chapter to focus on? Back to training with Aizawa and All Might's fire combat course. A romantic one-on-one episode with another pair, like Todoroki and Momo. Or we go into the dorm life arc where Class 1 starts preparing for the Shihaseikai arc. Let me know your choice, I'll take it from there. UA Heights Alliance Dorm 6:45 a.m. The sun rose lazily over Muzutafu, golden rays sliding across the campus rooftops and filtering into the windows of Dormitory 10. After the excitement of the provisional license party the night before, the dorm was unusually still. Shoes scattered near doorways. Pillows left on common room couches. A few snores echoed from hallways. But in the kitchen. Crack. Sizzle. Clang. Two figures were already wide awake. Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakuga morning mission, feed the class. Izuku stood near the stove, wearing a white apron with a little cartoon flame logo on the chest, sleeves rolled up, sweat on his brow. His movements were quick, but careful. He flipped egg omelets in one pan, scrambled tofu in another, and had rice steaming in the rice cooker nearby. "Okay, so 3 miso bowls need to be vegetarian," he muttered to himself, glancing at his list, "and Sato likes his sweetened, don't forget to caramelize that daikon." From the other side of the counter, Bakuga chopped vegetables with frightening precision, explosions barely contained in his palms. "If anyone says one word about my knife cuts, I'm blasting their face off," he grumbled. Izuku laughed softly. "No one's judging you, Kaken. Actually, you're really good at this." Bakuga gave him a sideways glare. "You saying I can't do more than blow stuff up?" "I'm saying you've got control." Bakuga blinked, then grunted. "Whatever, nerd. Pass the soy sauce." 7:45 a.m. Wake-up smells. The aroma of miso soup, pan-fried rice, and sweet soy vegetables drifted through the dorm halls. Kirishima was the first to stir, sniffing the air. "Ha! Smells awesome." He shuffled down in his pajamas, yawning. Then, "Holy crap, Midoriya." Bakuga. Behind him, Denki and Mina poked their heads out from behind the corner. "Are we dreaming?" Mina whispered. "Is this the afterlife?" More students slowly joined, forming a small crowd at the kitchen threshold. Eureka rubbed her eyes. Did Bakuga just gently stir eggs? Hey! Bakuga barked. You want food or a concussion? 7:55 a.m. breakfast served. The whole class, still in pajamas, gathered around the massive table. Each plate was meticulously assembled. Grilled fish, hand-flaked by Izuku. Miso soup with seaweed, seasoned by Bakuga. Side bowls of rice, pickled veggies, and rolled tamagoyaki. Even vegan options, carefully prepared for Higakyo and Takoyami. Momo blinked at her tray. This looks like something from a traditional inn. Zuyu took a bite and blinked. Delicious, Kero. Midoriya, you cooked all this? Shuji asked quietly. Izuku scratched his neck. Well, Bakuga helped a lot. We thought, after last night, it'd be nice to do something for everyone. Bakuga scowled. It wasn't for you losers. I just didn't want Mick making some horror show again. Hey present, Mick called from the couch, I heard that. 8:15 a.m. Moments of peace. Kyuka slid onto the bench beside Izuku, resting her head briefly on his shoulder. You made miso soup for me, she asked with a sleepy smile. Miso's good for the heart, he whispered. And yours is my favorite. Bakuga, across the table, gagged dramatically. Pass the soy before I throw up. Laughter rippled around the table. Kirishima raised his chopsticks. To the best chefs in Wano. To breakfast heroes. As Class 1 dug into their meal, sunlight spilled across their faces, and for a moment, no villains, no missions, no pressure, just friends, food, and the warmth of home. 9 a.m. Classroom 1, UA High School. The class had just returned from their restful breakfast, still buzzing from the warmth of the morning. But as the bell rang and Aizawa stepped in, the tone shifted quickly. Enough relaxation, he said, sleepy-eyed but stern. It's time to talk internships. And to help with that. He stepped aside, and the classroom doors opened. We've invited the big three. A wave of murmurs rippled through the classroom. Every student turned to face the three figures entering the room, each one a top UA third year, renowned even among pro heroes. Mario Tagate, broad, confident, and practically glowing with energy. Nejaya Hado, bright-eyed, floating just slightly off the floor, her long periwinkle hair swaying. Tamaki Amajiki, quiet, shadowed, fingers nervously fidgeting, eyes avoiding contact. Student reactions. Mina whispered, "Whoa, they're students." Kirishima grinned, "That's manly energy right there." Izuku stared with fascination, already analyzing Mario's posture, stance, and demeanor. Aizawa gave a nod. "They'll show you what the top looks like. Watch, and learn." The challenge begins. After a brief, and chaotic, Q&A from Nejaya, Mario stepped forward, smiling. "How about we skip to the fun part? You've got a talented class, Aizawa. Let's see how they do in battle." Eyes turned toward the students. Mario scanned the room before his eyes landed on the three at the back, still standing with focused energy from their morning start, Izuku, Bakuga, and Kyuka. "How about you three? Want to give us a real warm-up?" Izuku blinked, surprised. "All three of us, versus the big three." Bakuga smirked. "TCH. You're underestimating us." Kyuka slid her jacks into her wrists, already amping up. "Let's make it loud." Nejaya floated into the air, smiling. Boom boom boy, I'm calling you out Tilda. Tamaki, without looking up, muttered, I'll take the purple girl, she's strong, like a siren. Mirio cracked his knuckles. That means I get salamander. Izuku stood straighter, eyes narrowed. Let's go. Training Dome Combat Zone E. The six stepped into the dome-style training field, instructors and students watching from the high observation room. Cameras recorded every angle. Aizawa crossed his arms. Let's see how far they've come. The battle begins. Bakuga vs Nejaya waves vs explosions. Bakuga POV. He launched off the ground with a roaring boom, propelling straight toward Nejaya, who danced through the air on a spiral wave of energy. She's fast, no pattern, too floaty, can't predict her moves yet. Nejaya laughed gleefully, we Tilda. You're so flashy. She fired a blast of her spiraling energy. Bakuga countered with an explosion, spinning midair, and launching two more blasts, driving her back. Spectator POV, Kirishima. Bakuga's flying like a missile, wait, she's absorbing it. Nejaya redirected the spiral energy, slamming it into the ground as Bakuga landed in front of her. Dust flew. He leapt out with a hook, only to be tossed back by a shockwave. Damn it, she's just like fighting the wind. He charged again, this time with smarter timing, small explosions in a staggered rhythm to throw off her perception. They clashed again and again, light and fire spiraling together in the sky. Until the buzzer rang. A tie. Kyuka vs Tamaki echoes in the shadows. Kyuka POV. He's hard to read, he doesn't want to fight. But I can feel his power. Tamaki stood barely raised off the ground, tentacles forming from his arms, crab claws shielding his face, octopus limbs creating barriers. Kyuka slid her jacks into the concrete, sending a sound wave through the arena, blowing dust into the air. Let's try echolocation. If I can track him by bounce-back waves. Tamaki darted into the dust, chicken wings extending to glide, sunflower seed bombs sprouting from his palms. He tossed them, then vanished behind a stone wall. He's not aggressive, he's trying to contain me. Kyuka leapt onto a higher platform, using her jacks to focus a sonic burst downward. The wave exploded the earth, but vines grew out of Tamaki's arms to block the collapse. They stared at each other. Kyuka whispered, "You're holding back." Tamaki mumbled, "So are you." They clashed only once more, a final sound burst vs crab arm block, before the timer beeped. Another tie. Izuku vs Mirio phase breaker. Izuku POV. Mirio vanished. No sound. No pressure. Gone. Phase, he's behind me. Izuku spun, launching a controlled flame burst behind him. Mirio passed through it harmlessly, then popped out of the ground with a smile, swinging a heavy punch. Izuku blocked, his feet sliding back, scorch marks trailing. "You got faster," Mirio grinned. "You're not even sweating," Izuku replied. From above, Aizawa muttered. "He's predicting permeation now, not just reacting. He's improving again." Izuku began scattering controlled fireballs across the field, not aiming at Mirio, but creating zones of denial, trying to force Mirio's exits into specific places. Mirio appeared, dodged two, but Izuku had predicted the third. Boom! An explosive blast point blank. Izuku kicked forward, flames bursting from his feet, hand cocked back. flame drive smash. Mirio vanished again, but too slow. Izuku just grazed him with a burst punch, throwing him into the air. Mirio laughed as he landed, flipping to his feet. "You're amazing." "You're not bad either," Izuku grinned. Final 10 seconds, both rushed each other, Mirio phasing, Izuku flame stepping. They collided in a flash of orange and blue. Beep. End. Judgment Observation Room. Aizawa blinked. Wait. Mick's jaw dropped. No way. The score popped up on the board. Midoriya Izuku, 89. Togete Mirio, 88. Gasps from the class. Akako stood up in shock. Momo covered her mouth. Bakuga let out a grunt. Nerd. Kyuka smirked. Told you he was gonna win. Aftermath. The big three regrouped in the center of the field. Mirio laughed. Guess the future's in good hands after all. Nejaya giggled. That was so fun. Tamaki nodded quietly at Kyuka. Strong heart, loud voice. Izuku, panting, stood tall. Aizawa's voice rang out. All of you, well done. Now you know the gap. Now your job is to close it. And as the students looked at each other, exhausted, proud, and blazing with inspiration, one thing was clear. The next generation of heroes had truly arrived. After school UA faculty conference room. The sun was already beginning to dip lower behind U.S towers as Aizawa led Mirio, Nejaya, and Tamaki into the teachers' conference room. The quiet hum of the ceiling fans was the only sound until the door shut behind them. A few staff members were already present, Midnight, Present Mick, and Cementos, all with drinks in hand as they turned their attention to the third years. Aizawa stood at the front of the room and gestured for the big three to take a seat. So, impressions? Aizawa asked bluntly. Start with Midoriya. Thoughts? Mirio, still slightly flushed from the sparring match, grinned and leaned back in his chair. He's scary smart. If I hadn't phased early during that last move, he would have knocked me flat. Honestly, I nearly had to go all out just to match him, and even then, I still lost by a point. Present Mick gave a low whistle. Whoa. That kid's been climbing fast. Nejaya twirled her finger in her hair. He's a firework. Controlled but dangerous. And he doesn't flinch, his timing was perfect. Tamaki, mumbling softly, added, he sees people, how they move. Feels like he knows where you're going before you do. Aizawa nodded once, then added something that made them all pause. And that wasn't even him going all out. Mirio blinked. Wait, seriously? The last time we saw him close to that was the USJ incident. And he wasn't this controlled back then. His restraint is as much a weapon as his fire. They all went silent for a moment. Aizawa glanced down at the file labeled Midoriya Izuku Salamander and sighed. He's still holding something back. I just don't know what it is yet. Dorm grounds 5:30 p.m. The golden hue of evening bathed the trees in a warm light. Birds chirped lazily as a calm breeze moved through the tall trees outside the dorms. Kyuka stood at the base of one, arms crossed, watching her boyfriend with a soft smile as he climbed halfway up the branches with a backpack full of tools. His sleeves were rolled up, a pencil in his mouth, and his cheeks a little red from the sun. You sure you don't need me up there? She called. You're already helping just by being here. Izuku replied. But I'm gonna be up here for a bit. Think you could be a star and make some food for us, my love? She blushed lightly but chuckled. Sure thing, builder boy. As she walked toward the kitchen, Mina and Momo poked their heads out of the common room window. Ooh, who tilde Mina cooed. You guys are like an old married couple already. Kyuka rolled her eyes fondly. Shut up, Pinky. Boys join the build. While Izuku balanced on a wooden beam, Kirishima, Bakuga, Zero, and Denki strolled over, curious about the banging sounds. Yo, Midoriya, Kirishima called, you building a secret base or something? Izuku looked down with a grin. Treehouse. For me and Kyuka. Bakuga narrowed his eyes. TCH. You're putting 3 floors on that thing. Izuku nodded. Roof lookout, middle chill zone, and a sleep area. I'm thinking electric lights, ventilation, hammock netting. Denki lit up. Need power. I got you covered, man. Zero tossed up a roll of duct tape. Let's go, builders. Within minutes, they were hauling lumber, holding beams, hammering frames, and installing planks. Izuku directed the team with practiced ease, his schematics drawn in charcoal on a spare sheet of plywood nailed to a tree trunk. Meanwhile in the kitchen. The dorm kitchen bustled with laughter and sizzling sounds. Mina and Momo chose to make spicy curry and hot pepper gyoza, smirking at the thought of Kirishima and Bakuga trying to act tough about the heat. Akako, Zuyu, Yaoyorozu, and Toru helped make onigiri, sandwiches, and drinks. We're rewarding the boys for working so hard, Momo said with a smile. Also Mina added, Kyuka and Izuku have been through so much, they deserve this. Evening picnic. As the sun disappeared completely, stars came out. The finished treehouse glowed faintly with hanging string lights powered by Denki's internal generator. The bottom floor featured large cushions, a low table, and cooling fans. The middle was a cozy hangout space with comic books, a speaker for music, and a hammock net for lying back. The top roof had a telescope, beanbags, and a wind chime hanging from the branches. Mina carried a massive picnic basket out as the others followed. Everyone settled in the grass around the base, eating under the stars. Bakuga and Kirishima bit into the spicy food, and both started coughing immediately. You, trying to kill us? Bakuga barked. Mina's idea. Momo laughed. Everyone erupted into laughter. Late night treehouse, 2nd floor. A chapter of vulnerability, romance, and deeper connection between Izuku Midoriya and Kyuka Jirou. The soft rustling of the trees was like a lullaby. Above, the branches swayed gently, the wind weaving through the leaves like nature's own orchestra. Warm, golden fairy lights gently illuminated the inside of the treehouse 2nd floor, casting a cozy, glowing atmosphere. Crickets chirped outside, and the low hum of electricity from Denki's generator provided the faintest vibration underfoot. Izuku and Kyuka sat side by side on the thick floor cushions, their shoes kicked off, and a shared blanket draped over their legs. The remains of the curry meal they'd brought up had long been packed away, replaced by a quietness that didn't beg to be broken, but still invited sharing. Kyuka leaned against him, head on his shoulder, one of her earjacks plugged into her phone, the other tucked into Izuku's ear. A soft acoustic guitar melody played, calm and smooth. His arm was around her waist. They'd been like that for a while. But slowly, the silence gave way to something more fragile, more human, emotion needing to be voiced. You're tense, she said softly, fingers brushing the inside of his palm. even now. Izuku sighed, his fingers twitching around hers. Am I that obvious? She nodded gently. You're quieter than usual. And that look in your eyes, like you're still fighting something, even when everything is calm. He didn't respond right away. Instead, he looked out the window, where the stars peeked through a break in the canopy. His voice was quiet when it finally came. I've been thinking about that fight with Gang Orca, about that moment when everyone was looking at me to lead. She turned to face him fully, concerned. You did lead. You kept people alive, Izuku. He nodded slowly. But I wasn't sure I could. Not in that moment. I just reacted. I didn't even think. And when I look back, I keep asking myself, what if I'd failed? Kyuka reached for his other hand, holding both now. You didn't. You won't. He looked at her with a soft but haunted expression. But I've failed before. I failed to protect Satoshi during middle school. I lost myself after the Nomu. I almost lost myself again in Hoju. If you, Bakuga, and Mick hadn't shown up. She interrupted gently, placing her palm on his cheek. You didn't lose yourself. You found a way through the worst of it. That matters, Izuku. And you didn't fight alone. You don't have to fight alone. He met her eyes, and for a long moment, they just looked at each other. Then, he leaned his forehead to hers. I'm afraid of who I am sometimes. Of what my quirk makes me. It's fire, Jirou. It destroys things. That's what it's always done. Even when I try to control it, it lashes out when I'm angry or scared. She pulled back just slightly so he could see her eyes again, intense, soft, but unwavering. And it also saved people. It lit up the way for others. It's warmth. It's protection. Fire isn't just destruction. You're not just destruction. He let that sink in. A long breath escaped his lips, and his shoulders relaxed. Sometimes I wonder if you deserve someone calmer, safer. She blinked, genuinely surprised, and then laughed quietly. Izuku, have you met me? I've got a mom with a guitar collection bigger than her wardrobe and a dad who literally passed out when he saw my first piercing. My idea of safe isn't someone who hides who they are to keep others comfortable. He chuckled too, the tension finally easing from his chest. You ground me, he whispered. You remind me who I am. She grinned and leaned closer, until their noses touched. Good. Because I love the person you are, even the fire, the worry, the overthinking. I love you. Izuku's breath caught, just slightly, but then he smiled wider than she'd seen in days. I love you too, Kyuka. Every single version of you, the sarcastic, stubborn, ridiculously talented, strong-hearted girl who somehow looked at me and saw something worth holding on to. Their lips met in a kiss that was deeper this time, slow, sure, and filled with everything they hadn't said during the chaos of recent weeks. His hands gently slid up her back, hers held onto his shirt like he might disappear again if she let go. When they pulled apart, breath mingling in the tiny space between them, she whispered with a teasing smirk, "You're such a sap." He grinned. Only for you. Hours later, wrapped in each other. The music had stopped. The lights had dimmed to a soft hum. They lay tangled together on the net hammock in the upper nook of the treehouse, her head on his chest, his arms securely wrapped around her. He brushed his thumb over her shoulder blade, idly drawing invisible circles. "Do you ever think about the future?" he asked quietly. Sometimes she murmured. Mostly I try to just hold on to this. The quiet moments. I want to build something real, he said. A future with you. A home where no one has to be afraid of their quirks. Where we don't have to burn things down to protect others. You're building that already, Izuku. With every step. With every flame you control. He kissed the top of her head. I couldn't do it without you. You don't have to. They fell asleep slowly, peacefully, her earjack loosely curled against his wrist, his steady heartbeat the last sound she heard as the stars watched over them. 6:30 a.m. bitter and sweet goodbyes. The morning light didn't feel like school anymore, it felt like boarding a ship heading into the unknown. Izuku, still clad in his UA jacket, packed his newly minted hero license into a special case. Kyuka was beside him, her earring cords humming softly with anticipation. They shared a quiet hug. Kyuka, we'll text each other during the breaks, okay? Izuku, every chance I get. They kissed lightly, and then they parted. She joined Nejiya and Ryuko. He followed Mirio. Bakuga arrived with Todoroki, both scowling but composed. Todoroki slung his bag and caught his breath. The other students waved them all off from the dorm steps. This was bigger than school, it was the start of their real hero lives. 8:15 a.m. UA parking lot and pairings. Students were grouped by their internship mentors. Izuku with Mirio Togate, heading to Nighty's agency. Kyuka with Nejiya Hado and Raiko Tatsuma. Bakuga, Todoroki, and Taida with Fat Gum. Aizawa gave a final note. Aizawa, remember, this isn't just training. It's field experience. Keep your head, follow your mentor, and watch everything. With that, they boarded the UA vans taking them to their internships. Inst. 1 Sir Nighty's Agency HQ, Izuku and Mirio. Location, tall, sleek office building downtown. Mirio and Izuku strode in, greeted by Nighty's quiet, intense demeanor. His watchful eyes took in Izuku's license. Nighty, Midoriya. I've studied your file. You're efficient, but emotional. That's your strength, and your liability. He ushered them to a briefing room where a map lay on the table. Nighty, your portfolio begins today. We'll start with civilian engagement patrol, walking the district, greeting locals, surveying. Then by noon, basic security, keeping an eye out for suspicious activity. Mirio, perfect for a first day, boss. Izuku pulled out his notepad. On the street, civilian patrol. Mirio took the lead, teaching Izuku how to project presence, how to balance confidence without overwhelming. They spoke kindly to shop owners, asked kids about homework, monitored alleys for graffiti versus vandalism, and logged anything out of place. By midday, they stepped aside to analyze results. Mirio, see how calm your voice was when Miss Wu dropped her groceries. That's hero work. Izuku smiled, relief flushing his cheeks. Inst. 2 Fury Cafe and Warehouse, Kyuka, Nejiya and Ryuko. Location, quirky artist district, then a small warehouse. Nejiya led them to Fury, a hero-run cosplay cafe. Nejiya, we're covering community outreach, fun, approachable hero image. Kyuka served drinks, repairs earjack equipment, and chatted with patrons. She even improvised a small acoustic performance when the Wi-Fi cut out, sparked applause. Raiko, smiling, you're a natural. Remember, hero work isn't just fighting. It's comfort. After lunch, they moved to the warehouse to learn basic evacuation drills, guiding patrons to exits, carrying injured models, calming shouting extras. Kyuka excelled. Her voice never shook. She stepped just behind Nejaya when a simulated fire alarm rang, Heratoctic. Nejaya threw her an impressed look. Inst. 3 City Block Patrol, Bakuga, Todoroki and Taida with Fat Gum. Area, crowded Midtown sightseeing block. Fat Gum loomed near the street, directing them through the hustle. Fat Gum, all right, you three. Crowd control. Tourists. Lost kids. Uneven sidewalks. No explosions unless I say so. Bakuga, grumbling great. They walked single file. Fat Gum pointed out potential hazards, loose paving stones, pickpocket patterns, aggressive street performers. Todoroki guided distracted pedestrians out of harm's way. Taida sprinted to intercept a medical emergency while Fat Gum and Bakuga held calm. A loud crash rang as a lamppost snapped. Bakuga immediately shielded 2 children with a crouched blast, using micro build-up to hold up debris. His eyes burned with controlled fire. Fat Gum barked, *on good reflex, Bakuga. Late afternoon debriefs. Back at UA classroom. Izuku, his cheeks red from sunshine, takes notes on the patrol and map stats. Mirio beams at him with pride. Kyuka adjusts her earjacks, flushed from performance and small hero pose. Nejaya pats her shoulder. You gonna be a star already, quiet storm. Bakuga barely wipes sweat, but there's a new edge, focused rather than feral. Fat Gum hands him a soda. Fat Gum, kid's got good instincts, needs to cool the anger. Evening reflections. Class 1 gathers under Aizawa's supervision to share highlights. Izuku's eyes sparkle as he speaks of civilian smiles, his voice steady. Kyuka calmly explains how hero presence feels like a bass line under a song. Bakuga clears his throat, grudgingly admitting, crowd control is not useless. Aizawa watches, company's few bars of approval flickering. Aizawa, good work today. You'll rotate tomorrow. Learn different styles. Observe. Ask questions. Understand that heroism isn't one shape. They all nod. Closing moment. Izuku walks to the base of the tree house just as evening settles. Kyuka steps out of the darkness, walking next to him. How was your first day? Eye-opening. Mirio pushed me to think proactively. She smiles. Nejaya said you were calm under pressure. You did good. They stand hand in hand. Kyuka, I'll be back tomorrow for my shift at the cafe and warehouse. Izuku, and I'll be back after field prep at nighties. They look at the tree house above, the roof shaped like their first dream. Kyuka, we're doing this. We're really making it. Izuku, together. They kiss, soft and sure, before heading back inside the dorms, ready to sleep and prepare again for tomorrow's new hero lessons. Sunrise 6 a.m. morning prep, restless energy. The dorms buzzed with a different kind of excitement than usual. Not classroom anxiety, but field nerves. Izuku pulled on his reinforced hero suit, the fabric lighter now thanks to Hatsume's latest upgrades. Across the hallway, Kyuka adjusted her new wingsuit rig, slim metallic wing blades attached by magnetized shoulder sockets, modeled after glider wings, silent, flexible, and tuned to sound vibrations. Downstairs, Bakuga growled at the toaster for burning his bread while simultaneously barking orders at Kaminari to stop dancing. Bakuga, you're not even going on patrol today, dumbass. Sit your ass down. Kirishima chuckled. You know he's just trying to get pumped for you. Round Pushpin Scene 1, Ryukyu's domain Kyuka and Nejaya patrol the skies. Location, Yokohama's upper commercial ward glass towers, multi-level rail lines, air taxi platforms. Objective, upper air support and fast response sweep patrol. Kyuka launched into the sky after Nejaya, her wings unfolding with a satisfying whir. She wasn't used to the altitude just yet, but Nejaya flew in lazy loops beside her, full of carefree grace. Nejaya, you're doing great. Just think of the wind like a beat. Feel it. Let it carry you like bass through your chest. Kyuka smiled nervously. Easier said than done. Suddenly, an emergency call lit up Ryukyu's comms. Dispatch, suspicious behavior spotted at Sky Mall Sector 3. Multiple break-in alerts. Possible villain escape route via airlift. Ryukyu, Nejaya, Kyuka, intercept. Confirm and support. Detain if necessary. Action begins. Nejaya shot forward in a corkscrew motion, her energy spirals trailing behind her. Kyuka dove to follow, focusing sound through her boots to increase thrust, her wingsuit stabilizing in wind tunnels between buildings. At the rooftop of Sky Mall, they spotted two masked villains hauling tech cases into a getaway hover van. Kyuka let out a sharp sonic scream, splitting a hover fan's stabilizer and crashing the van to the ground. The villains scrambled. One tried to fire a pulse gun, Nejaya zapped it midair, sending sparks flying. Kyuka landed with a resonant stomp, cracking the concrete with reverberated force, then launched two earjack cords to knock one down cold. The other fled, only to be tackled midair by Nejaya. Nejaya, we're going to be such a good team. Round Pushpin Scene 2, Nighty's Observation Zone Ijuku and Myorio. Location, Uptown Naruhata bustling civilian marketplace and underground commuter lines. Objective, blending civilian patrol with precision intervention. Identify potential threats. Nighty, observe everything. The shade of a person's coat. The twitch of a hand. A true hero prevents crimes before they begin. Myorio and Ijuku walked through the crowd. Ijuku stayed alert, watching hands, backs, posture. Myorio, there, see that guy with the duffel bag. Too heavy. Walking stiff. Might be armed. They trailed behind casually, speaking to a few shopkeepers as cover. At a corner, the man ducked into an alley. Ijuku signaled with his eyes. Myorio nodded. They approached. The villain turned, revealing a small thermal explosive about to be rigged near a maintenance panel. Ijuku lunged, flame flaring at his boots, knocking the device away while Myorio phased through the wall, knocking the villain unconscious from behind. As civilians ran, Ijuku grabbed the device and used a frozen soda can to dampen the thermal battery. Smart thinking, quick reflexes. Nighty arrived shortly after, nodding curtly. Nighty, that was faster than most pros would have managed. Impressive. Ijuku's hands were shaking afterward. Myorio smiled, clapping his back. Myorio, welcome to real hero work. Round Pushpin Scene 3, Osaka's food district Bakuga and Tamaki. Location, dense street market grid. Thousands of stalls, smells of oil, spices, fish. Objective, criminal pickpocketing and potential drug smuggling. Blend in. Be efficient. Tamaki, I don't blend in well. Bakuga, then don't. Walk behind me. I'll blend in enough for both of us. The irony of that was lost on Tamaki, but he followed. Bakuga stomped through the crowds, eyes sharp. He spotted a man palming capsules near a takoyaki stall. Bakuga, bingo. The man moved, fast. Bakuga dove over a counter, knocking down tempura trays and grabbing the dealer by the collar. He used a small controlled blast to pin him into a brick wall without injuring anyone. Tamaki calmly restrained the man with tentacle arms, retrieving the drug vials. Tamaki, you handled that, cleanly. Bakuga huffed. Explosions are more precise than people think. They left the area with a subdued criminal and cheering locals behind them. Cityscape at dusk, evening debriefs and check-ins. Back at each agency, the mentors shared notes. Ryukyu praised Kyuka's adaptability and calm under pressure, calling her a natural scout-fighter hybrid. Nighty noted Izuku's enhanced strategic thinking, ranking him higher than expected for a second-year student. Fat Gum said Bakuga had the best instincts of any student he's ever met, but needed to trust team strategy more. Speech balloon closing montage dorm life. The three returned home around the same time. Izuku and Kyuka found each other by the vending machines, sat on the bench, and shared their days. She leaned on his shoulder. Kyuka, I blasted a hover van out of the sky today. Izuku, I disarmed a bomb in a crowded street. They laughed nervously. Bakuga walked by, scowling at both of them. TCH nerds. Then, without another word, handed Izuku a soda and dropped on the nearby bench with a grunt. He was exhausted, but satisfied. House with flower evening at the UA dorms. The day had been long. Patrols. Quirk adjustments. Reports. Everyone was mentally exhausted, but now, with the sun setting over the UA grounds, the dorms were bathed in golden-orange light. Students were scattered across the common room, playing video games, cooking together, lounging on couches. Mina was sprawled upside down on the beanbag chair, scrolling through photos of that day's patrols. Hey! Look at this one, Kyuka and Nejaya in midair. Goals, right? Momo and Akako were prepping cucumber sandwiches and iced tea, while Kaminari and Zero argued over what movie to stream. Then, Aizawa's voice from the hallway. Has anyone seen Midoriya or Jirou? Everyone froze. Mina snorted a laugh. The lovebirds. Not recently. Aizawa, they didn't check back in. That's a problem. The class exchanged glances. Then came a single voice from the corner. Takoyami, I heard hammering earlier, from the woods. Aizawa blinked, hammering. Kirishima and Kaminari slowly, casually, started whistling and sidestepping away from the windows. Bakuga rolled his eyes and stood up, hands in pockets, quietly exiting toward the hallway. Oi, let the idiot handle it. Tree at the treehouse second floor. In the twilight sky, the handmade wooden structure stood quietly nestled into the trees, dimly glowing with the soft amber light from the generator-powered lantern strung overhead. Izuku and Kyuka lay close on a large floor pillow, wrapped under a light blanket. His hand rested gently on her waist, her head tucked against his chest. No words needed. Just slow breaths. Their fingers intertwined like music notes in a quiet song. Kyuka lifted her head slightly and smiled. This was the best surprise ever. Izuku kissed her forehead, eyes soft and peaceful. You're the best part of all of this. Then, a distant voice cut through the calm. Aizawa, shouting. Midoriya. Jirou. Get down from there. Now. Both sat bolt upright, startled. Kyuka flushed deep crimson. Oh crap. Izuku groaned. He sounds mad. They scrambled to straighten their hair and jumpers, Kyuka quickly folding the blanket while Izuku turned off the light. As they climbed down the rope ladder, Aizawa stood with arms crossed, his scarf trailing behind him in the wind. Behind him stood the entire class, most of them trying not to laugh, especially Mina, who was visibly shaking from holding it in. Aizawa, deadpan. I'm going to ask once. Who built that thing? Silence. Then. All the boys except Izuku turned on their heels and walked away. Bakuga muttered, not snitching. That was good craftsmanship. Aizawa sighed. Fine. Midoriya. Jirou. You're not in trouble. But tomorrow morning, meeting room. You, Bakuga, Kirishima, and Jirou. Kyuka blinked. Wait, me too. Aizawa nodded. Yes. We've got something important to discuss. 7 a.m. Don't be late. He turned and walked back toward the dorms. Izuku whispered. Well, that could have gone worse. Kyuka leaned on him. Yeah. At least he didn't ask how many floors it has. They both laughed softly, walking back hand in hand as the rest of class 1 teased them the whole way. 12 o'clock late night, back in the dorms. Mina uploaded a group selfie to the dorm message board. Caught by Aizawa. Lovebirds busted. New treehouse equals 10/10. Jirou and Midoriya's Romance Chronicles, Volume 2. Kirishima messaged back. Totally worth the manual labor. Also, I'm building a couch fort next. Denki responded. I'm making a swing for my room now. Let the woodwork war begin. Early morning UA faculty room. It was just past dawn when Aizawa summoned Izuku Midoriya, Katsuki Bakuga, Kyuka Jirou, and Ijiro Kirishima to the faculty building. They were still rubbing sleep from their eyes, with the dorms quiet and the rest of the class unaware of the sudden early meeting. Aizawa stood in front of them, arms crossed, grim as ever. But his sharp eyes held a tension that hadn't been present since the stain incident. This is a special mission, Aizawa said. It comes from the top, pro hero Sir Nighty. Their hearts stopped. Sir Nighty was a meticulous strategist, and for him to call on students meant this wasn't just training. You've been selected to work in tandem with the Big Three and specific pro agencies. Your abilities in recent events, particularly during the provisional exam and your internships, have flagged you as candidates to participate in a joint task force against the Shihasekai. Izuku's breath caught. Kyuka's jaw tightened. Bakuga clenched his fists, sensing the weight in Aizawa's tone. The Yakuza are on the move again, Aizawa said. This morning, pro heroes were attacked in an underground raid. The suspects were caught using something new, trigger enhancers, and even worse, quirk erasing bullets. That silenced them all. You'll be working under the direction of the Big Three, Sir Nighty, Ryukyu, Fat Gum, and myself. Report to the agency HQs you interned with immediately. From there, you'll be briefed. He handed each of them a sealed folder. Go prepared. This isn't school anymore. Midday pro-hero briefings across the city. Round pushpin Ryukyu agency Kyuka and Nejaya. Ryukyu looked up from the report as Kyuka and Nejaya arrived. You two are not just here as interns today, Ryukyu said. You're part of the response team. The bullets, these eraser rounds, they are a threat to everything we know about hero work. A projector showed a medical chart of a pro-hero who had lost access to their quirk for 12 hours. That was temporary. But the lab that made them. There's evidence they're working on permanent versions. Kyuka felt a chill settle in her chest. Nejaya, Kyuka, Ryukyu said. If you see them in action, do not engage alone. Round pushpin Fat Gum's district Bakuga and Tamaki. The atmosphere was heavier than usual. Fat Gum wasn't his normal boisterous self. He slapped a file down hard on the desk. These ain't street punks. They're Yakuza. And they're using trigger to overload quirks, causing city-level destruction. Worse, they're hiding something. Tamaki sat in the corner, tense and quiet, while Bakuga scanned the data. We're hit in a meat-packing warehouse tonight, Fat Gum said. Recon only. But if things go south, I'll blow 'em sky high, Bakuga said, then paused. After securing civilians. Fat Gum grinned faintly. A taboy. Round pushpin 90 HQ Ijuku, Mairio, and Sir 90. 90 paced in front of a corkboard of maps, surveillance stills, and red string connecting everything. The bullets are being distributed via a hidden smuggling route, originating from Shihasekai's inner circle. Your job, track the shipment, confirm the location of their research facility, and identify their subject. Ijuku blinked. Subject. Intelligence suggests they're using a quirk-based child to synthesize the erasing agent. The room fell silent. Your target's name is Eri. Later that evening, real-time villain crisis. Everything went sideways in an instant. Across the city, quirk smugglers armed with trigger vials and quirk-erasing bullets launched coordinated attacks on 3 districts. Police cars revolving light location 1, Hikarishi Market, Kyuka and Nejaya. A loud scream echoed as trigger-enhanced thugs launched an assault in the open market. Shoppers fled as street stalls exploded from overcharged quirks. Kyuka took flight, plugging her jacks into her Gi's amplifier and unleashed a sonic quake, destabilizing their equilibrium. Nejaya spiraled in from above, scattering the gang with her spiral wave cannon. They're trying to draw attention. Kyuka yelled. And away from the real lab, Ryukyu's voice crackled in her earpiece. Police cars revolving light location 2, Dockyard Bakuga and Tamaki. Smoke. Shouts. Then a burst of flame. Bakuga moved like a missile, propelling himself into the thugs. Tamaki turned into a wall of tentacles and hardened shellfish claws, shielding fallen officers. 2 on the roof, trigger active, someone shouted. On it. Bakuga leapt skyward, blasting both before they could fire. But then, a bullet grazed Tamaki's leg. He hit the ground, screaming. Bakuga caught him. Tamaki. His leg was numb. No quirk. Not even a twitch. Bakuga turned back to the thugs, eyes glowing, smoke pouring from his palms. They'd shot his teammate with a quirk killer. He wasn't going to let them reload. Police cars revolving light location 3, underpass near Route 15 Ijuku and Mairio. Chasing a lead on a shipment truck, they were ambushed. Explosions rocked the underpass. Ijuku darted in, fire glowing green at his heels. A villain leveled a gun at a child caught in the crossfire. No. Izuku unleashed a thermal pulse wave, redirecting the blast and tackling the villain. Mirio phased through the truck's side and took out the driver. One of the thugs pulled a syringe. Don't let them near the girl, she's the source. Mirio froze. Izuku's eyes widened. Eri. She was real. And she was being used. Late night joint agency debrief. All units returned by 11 p.m. Bruised. Shaken. Furious. Tamaki was recovering. Ryukyu had secured evidence. Izuku had found the child. But she'd been ripped away before they could reach her. Sir Knight's face was stone cold as he addressed them. They're accelerating their operations. The quirk-erasing bullets are no longer theoretical, they are in the wild. Aizawa entered the room, looking tired but composed. You four, Midoriya, Bakuga, Jirou, Kirishima, alongside the big three, are now on standby for joint assault coordination. This is real. Everyone was quiet until Ryukyu added. And because of your actions tonight, you just saved lives.